Hello, so I'll be showing you how to install MaRMAT for a Windows machine. First, we'll go to the MaRMAT website, which is marmatproject.org. It'll take a minute to load. So from this page is this is the home page for the MaRMAT website. There's quite a bit here in terms of other pages that include our about, our lexicons, documentation, and how to contact us. First things first, if you want to download the package, here is where the release candidates are hosted. So I am using a Windows machine, which I will download and then open in my downloads. And then I'm going to extract this. And I'll go ahead and just put a folder on my desktop for this exercise. Okay, and this is the file I just downloaded. And from here, you'll see there's the SRC file, install dependencies, a README, and then a bat file to actually run MaRMAT. I'm going to hit the install dependencies. Every time if you're on a PC, you're going to get this notification of an unrecognized app. Click more info and click run anyway. And this will install Python PyQt6 and pandas, which are both needed to run MaRMAT. So I'm going to click, now that that's been installed, any key to continue. And then you should be able to double click the run-marmot bat file. Again, more info, run anyway. Okay, and now we have launched the GUI MaRMAT. My screen is dark because I'm set to, my computer is default set to dark settings. So I have a dark, dark view of, dark mode of MaRMAT. Here's a little, pop-up that just kind of gives a little bit of information about the MaRMAT Reparative Metadata Assessment Tool. And then from here, we can go ahead and click the Run MaRMAT, which will just launch into pretty much, let's load the metadata that you want to assess. So I'm going to go ahead and just pick a collection of metadata here and then click Next. Oops, sorry. It'll tell me that 1,000, it'll show the first 1,000, but the metadata was successfully loaded. And then my next here is highlighted in red. I'll click that button. And this is where I'll load a lexicon. And you can get to the lexicons a few different ways. If you go back up to the main MaRMAT repository, you can get to the lexicons that are listed here. They're linked to in both of these places. They're also on the MaRMAT website. So if you go to lexicons, the lexicons tab, you can download a reparative metadata lexicon, the LCSH lexicon, or the sensitive content lexicon. So I'm going to go ahead and download the sensitive content lexicon because I'm curious about potentially, material that might need a content warning or maybe be removed entirely from being online. So I have this downloaded now, and I'm going to go back over to MaRMAT. Now I'm going to load my lexicon. Okay, so here I can see a preview of all the terms. And then, let's see, I'm just having some issues with this fitting on my screen. And then I'm going to click the next button. This is where you want to configure your analysis. You always want to have an ID column selected first. Mine happens to be ID, so that's very easy. And then I'm going to select which columns of metadata that I actually want to run my assessment on. And here's where I can select certain categories of terms, whether I'm just looking at Indigenous American sensitive content, if I want to look for graphic content, let's say nude content doesn't matter to my institution, so I'm just going to skip it. We're not concerned with, any content warnings or moving on nudity, but I'm just going to select all of these fields for this demonstration purpose. Click next. And this is where I can, select where my file is going to go. And these settings you can configure in your settings portion of MaRMAT, where you can have files or directories designated for your metadata inputs, outputs, and your lexicons. So I'm going to click Perform Analysis. And from here, we can see the beautiful progress bar working, telling us how much we're analyzing so far. And then I can open up the output file directly from this screen, make sure that I'm looking at a comma separated value. And here is my results. And you can go ahead and, what I generally do is do a filter, so I can look at, different categories here of terms that were selected. You can see like horse skeleton. There's it's in the category for diseased people, and here's the head of skeleton gulch from the mountain of Richofen. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that sounds like a geographic feature and not an actual skeleton or skeletal remains. There's also, again, here, Gore, a Gore Canyon, not actually Gore, but a physical feature with that name. So there's certain ones that you'll, have to look at and see if they're valid, responses, and then look them up in terms of reviewing the image and whether it's something that you would be concerned about having online or not. Thanks so much.